Did you see Saw?
Of course I see Saw. Moz and I see Saw all the time.
No, the movie. Did you see the movie Saw?
Oh, yeah. Great film. Almost as fun as going on a seesaw.
All right. Renee, I want to play one kind of final game. There's the bonus movies,
This is the final Saw, we can say, until the new Saw X. I'm calling it that because I refuse to call it Saw 10. 8 and 9 don't count. So this is Saw 3D/7. And the final game before we get to the new one.
Okay, so you're just your stance is refusing to acknowledge the Roman numeral.
We will talk about the other two that's like they don't even have Roman numerals in their names. So this is technically the end of the Roman numerals. I don't know why they're picking it up with 10. It should be 8 because there is no other what I mean?
It is real weird how they just adopted the spin-offs as sequels, and it's like these weren't successful, so we got to do something with them. Let's just build them into the lineup.
I guess it's accepting, but not every movie has to do it. Like Halloween, where they're like, oh, we're gonna ignore all the sequels and just do a sequel to the first one. That's a lot. That's crazy. This one is I think most fans would agree. Yeah, no, this is the new one, Saw X. It should be Saw 8. That's technically. I mean, I guess we could maybe say Jigsaw counts because Tobin Bell's actually in that movie, but there's no Jigsaw characters at anywhere in Spiral, and it's not even. It's from the Book of Saw, whatever that means. So I just feel
a failed experiment is what that was.
Yeah, this is technically before the new one has come out, which it already has at this point. But at this point now, I feel like this is the final official Saw movie in the timeline, at least for the original 7 movies timeline.
I want to see an interview with the guy that's like, I got an idea. The Book of Saw.
Yeah, what? I was like, when that came out, I was like, I mean, cool with that it's Spiral, but the Book of Saw. I never fucking saw Jigsaw writing a book or anything. He didn't have this written down. He was all word of mouth. I felt like he didn't write down any rules. It was always just he spoke. I mean, he kind of repeated himself on video, but there's no fucking book. It should see from the fucking videos of Saw or whatever it is, right? Or the tapes.
Is there an audiobook for it? Where's the inspiration? It was all on the news.
Exactly.
Unless he has some pen name that we don't know about.
And yeah, we'll talk about those, but in a very quick manner. This is the official end of the Saw timeline that as we know of until the new one. So
well, and the funny thing with this is that it's not even Saw 7. This is officially Saw 3D.
Every horror franchise has one. Scream does not, thank God. I'm really glad that Scream 3 is just Scream 3. It's not Scream 3D.
Thank God. Well, that's because it. No, Scream 4 is what I'm thinking of. No, Scream 3 was Scream 3, and then Scream 4 came out in 2012, and thank God they didn't try to do the 3D thing.
Yeah, they have that weird Vaseline filter on the movie. That's bad enough, but we still love that movie. It's great.
It's still my favorite Saw.
But this is
favorite Scream.
It's your favorite Saw? Me too.
Listen Scream to that 4 playlist on YouTube. It's we got it all there. Anyways,
I will say. This movie in 3D, I saw it in theaters in 3D, and it was actually quite fun because at this point, I felt like when I was seeing these in theaters, it was like I'm going to see a fucking upbeat adventure movie at that point. It was oh, it's going to be fun. They're throwing fucking shit at us now. It's going to be oh man, the way that they did have the 3D setup. First off, it's a great rewatch for that. Out of most of those movies, it's pretty obvious. We talked about last year with Piranha 3D and a lot
Final
of those
Destination 3D.
Yeah, that it doesn't work well when you watch it not in 3D. So this movie, thank God that they shot it correctly, where it still works. You could tell when they're doing 3D, but it's it was fun. I remember seeing it, and that's why I think this opening trap is so weird because it's really fun, and I felt like it was a really weird way to open a Saw movie because it's not really horrifying. It's kind of hilarious and really fun. And I love the audacity of Jigsaw doing this in public. This is weird.
Yeah. So you're right. The 3D on this held up a lot better than some of the other ones. And I think part of it is that this was at the end of the 3D era. So technology got a little bit better. So this one holds up much better on a DVD or something versus Final Destination 3D, which came out 2 years prior, or like, yeah, Piranha 3D is still better than Final Destination 3D.
But it came out at the same year. I think a year after Saw 3D. So I think just some people got that shit right. Is the deal? You know, like it's hard to nail it, basically.
Well, and the funny thing is that we joke about 3D and how bad of a era it was in the mid 2000s or early 2000s. I don't know what we call 2000 to 2010, but
I mean, there's like 3 different versions of it, because if you go back, there's like some in the 90s that like thought it was like cutting edge crazy shit and it looks so stupid now. And then if you go back to the 70s even, that's why Jaws 3 is Jaws 3D. And that 3D, I will say, takes the cake as being the worst 3D ever, because everything has to move so fucking slow. It takes like 10 minutes for like the shark to move across the screen. And I'm like, is this supposed to be scary?
Oh, dude, Zack Snyder would have thrived in that era.
He would have, yeah.
Slow-mo replacing 3D, dude, he would have been
all about it.
Even more of an icon than he is
like,
now.
My number one inspiration is Jaws 3D. Slow-mo adds so much tension. Sorry. Let's talk about Saw 7. Yeah. I'm sorry, we're really derailed.
It was really interesting seeing the impact that 3D has on the box office. So the last one we did, Saw 6, was by far the worst performing movie in the franchise. I mean,
I blame that on Saw 5 though.
Yes, I agree. Up to this point. So Saw 6 did only $68 million worldwide. I mean, it still blew its budget. Like, all these movies have been profitable.
Yeah,
but, like,
I know, but still, that's not good for a Saw.
This is the only movie since the original that did under 100 million worldwide. Mm-hmm. Then Saw 3D. I don't know if it was the 3D or if it was Carrie Ells in the trailer. Yeah, Carrie Ells in the trailer. I mean, I'm assuming so.
I don't think he was. I think he was a total surprise when I watched this movie.
Well, I remember seeing it. Then it's all 3D, because this movie did 136 million worldwide. So like it got back up to the kind of the norm for a lot of these.
Do you think that's because it costs more to see a movie in 3D? Like, it's expensive for the tickets, and there's IMAX probably, so it's like even more pricey. Like, maybe that's just because they charged extra and people were like, I mean, obviously more people went and saw it, I think, because it's 3D. But I do think also maybe the prices are a little expensive. I'm just saying.
As much as we hate that period of time, if you slapped a 3D on there, people went to go see it. Because when we talked about Final Destination, that was, I think, the most profitable the movie has ever been, is because of 3D.
So dumb. I mean, to be fair, though, I did also go see the Justin Bieber 3D movie when I was younger. So,
Jesus, you are the problem, Renee.
I'm just saying, I was dragged there, ended up really enjoying myself.
All right, so let's
saw 3D.
So we can go ahead and get to the traps and talk about this.
This opening trap might be my new favorite. I think it's so fun. I love that it's so great. Everything about it works for me. I don't know why. I love this trap.
Was it the killing the woman, or was it the guy fighting over the woman?
No, it was just, well, first off, the acting is just really taking a dip after 5, 6, 7, 2. They're just, especially the people
relying on 3D.
They're relying on the 3D. However, I love that it's in public, first off. And I also love the fact that, like, the two guys are like, oh, fuck you. And then it's like, no, wait, let's work together and kill this bitch. And I was like, I mean, I know she's a cheater, but like, Jigsaw, doesn't that seem a little extreme? Like, if you cheat on your partner, you deserve to be sawed in half. I mean, I love it though. It fits with like where the movies went after like 6. I would say 5 and 6 is more like we're punishing bad people. That's the theme now. And I do feel like it fits with that, but I just found it so fun and hilarious. And like all the people, like the woman trying to break the glass with her purse, and then no one can do anything. But I was just like, what is going on here? No one is trying to do shit. Like, it just felt like it was hilarious. I was really enjoying the crowd aspect of it, because is this the first one with a crowd for a trap? besides like when they are in a group.
Yeah, I think this is like the first public display. My initial thought took me back to Saw 4, and I'm like, how are they setting up these traps?
Mm-hmm.
Like Saw 4 is like, oh, we're gonna set up a trap in a hotel room. And
Yeah.
it's like, what's the prep time? Do you have the Home Alone kid in here? Like what
This
how
is
how are you
why
setting this up in a kiosk? Like what
this is why there's like how many different like fucking apprentices that we find out, because I think they're like, you know what, we should probably bring in another secret apprentice, because I think we've added so much to this original storyline now that we're gonna need to explain it. And it's gotta be someone who was secretly there since the beginning in order to
Yeah.
explain all that other shit that we just changed. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
really all it is. That's why they keep revealing people that are in on it or doing this or doing that. And it's like, I mean, I will say the twist in this movie is better, but we'll get there when we get there. But this first trap is hilarious. I found it so much fun.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. I'll give you that. Maybe I'm just consuming too much internet drama content on my YouTube, because like the thing that came to my head, I'm like, this is some very like red pill misogynistic guy shit. It's like they even the instruction tape is like, who's the real alpha male, and the women are toxic. Also, the harness they have on the girl, I think they were just relying on the 3D to make the boobs really pop, because I'm like,
Yeah.
did the harness need to be like that? I feel like just a standard harness would have worked just fine.
I mean, it's like the later movie sequels in any horror franchise, I feel like tend to just be like, you know what? People just want to see fucking titties and some violence. And that's okay. You know, it's a safe environment to watch it. And that scene gives it to you. But I will say, I'm kind of rooting for the guys in that one. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, kill the bitch. She deserves it. She sucks. She seems like a total bitch. I don't know why. I'm like, fuck this girl. But also, it's just because she's like, I don't know. She's a bad actress, I really think, is the reason that she has to die. I'm like, this chick, the two guys aren't great, but they're better than
I was about
her.
to say, are you saying the guys are good actors and
They're
that's
better
why
than
they
her.
win?
I just thought that she was like, I was like, this feels like someone they picked up from like a reality show or some shit. You know what I mean? It did kind of feel like 3 Bachelor contestants or whatever, like were thrown into a trap. Like I was like, were these people from a reality show? Because I know that was the last movie.
There is no dollar amount that I would not get a loan for to get a Saw sponsored season of The Bachelor.
Yeah,
Like,
that's how you
oh my
eliminate
God.
people every week.
If instead of a rose ceremony, it's just live or die, make your choice.
Yeah, whoever
I'm
survives
there.
these traps.
I don't even care if they die in real life. I'm watching. If it's
Yeah.
pay-per-view, I'm watching. Like, I'm there.
I would fucking watch it too, man. That's probably why I like this opening trap. And I will say it's not scary or anything like any of the other ones. And I think that's why I enjoy it. The trap is very different for me. It's a public one. It feels like
Yeah.
kind of badass for Jigsaw to be doing this. It
Yeah.
does feel like it's not really a Jigsaw thing, even though it is, I guess, but it's just different and fun. And I thought that wouldn't be possible. It's like a fun Saw trap. And I think this nailed it.
I agree with you. This was a very fun trap, and I think similar to Saw 5, I think they open with the best trap. We'll go through them.
Yeah.
We'll go through them.
We'll go through them. I think there's one that's better, one or two, obviously, that are worse technically, but like also better for me.
Yeah. So going through, and so you reminded me, we were texting, and I didn't remember it, and I don't remember now, so I'm going to hope you remember it. The detective in this, what's that actor from?
Final Destination.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the guy that accidentally hangs himself in the shower in the first like death after the plane accident. His best friend.
He doesn't accidentally hang himself. He gets hung by death.
That's the point. I'm on death's side, okay, by the end of these. It's like every other serial killer movie. I'm on death's side at this point. These people are fucking with this guy. It's just his fucking job. Anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the guy in here,
His
and yeah,
voice got better, I think. He's less of like a pervert creep now. He doesn't, something about his voice was very weird in that first Final Destination.
he's less obsessed about taking a shit with his friends.
I was very glad that he was not on the toilet anywhere in this movie because I thought maybe this is like his thing. Like that, I've never seen him in anything else. Maybe that's why he's not in a lot of other stuff because he insisted on those toilet shots.
But he had he had one line that I just wrote in my notes because I thought it was hilarious. It was like, I even forget the context, but it was just like they asked him some question about the shit that's going on. He's like, she's crazier than a sack full of cats. I'm like, that is built into my everyday language now.
Oh yeah, that's an incredible
crazier
thing.
than a sack full of cats. That should be the slogan for our podcast.
It
Regular exclusive. Crazier than a sack full of cats.
And I think it's true. It's the best part, but I feel like I've heard that. That seems like one of those old phrases that I've heard. Like I've heard a lot of really old timey phrases that people would always say, and I feel like
watch
that's
a lot
one.
of old horror movies.
Well, I would also say that like Stephen King books, he uses those all the time. I say things now, and then Nolan's like, "That's not a thing," and I'm like, "Oh, let me tell you." Like when someone gets like when you get goosebumps or a shiver, it's like a goose just walked over my grave, and it's like, what? People would think you're insane if you say that. But I love the sack full of cats, and it is like I do feel like new detective. Where the fuck was this guy? They try to give us some explanation, but I don't think it's really satisfying. And if that guy, if fucking what's his name, Hoffman, I always forget. If he's like shooting people on the job and getting promoted, I mean, no one really thought that this guy could be a Jigsaw killer. Come on.
Well, at this point, everyone knows that Hoffman is the new Jigsaw, so maybe they're like, well, the last detective became Jigsaw, so maybe we figure something out.
Yeah, maybe they're bringing in fresh blood.
So the next trap is the Jill fake out death, where she has her dream and the weird go-kart with the spike on it.
I was like, why is she in this little dress all of a sudden? I knew she was in a dream because I was like, when he captured her, it was like supposedly outside the police station and she was not wearing that.
Yeah, with the bicycle there. And
yeah.
How
the fuck did he stage that at the fucking cop? Did no one notice?
I remember like watching it. I'm like, this better be a dream because if it's real, this is off. This is so stupid.
I will say, even the FBI in these movies are pretty fucking dumb, so it kind of tracks. And this guy is like a regular cop, the guy from Final Destination. I think he's 10 times smarter than the FBI in this movie. He actually makes some pretty good decisions. However, I agree with you there. That's pretty funny.
So then we get to
what's next? The racists in the graveyard or whatever.
The Chester death. R.I.P. Chester.
I did not realize that was him from Linkin Park, and I was like, holy shit.
I totally forgot that he was in this movie.
Yeah, I did not ever remember that. I think
what a random movie for a rock star to just pop up in. I guess maybe there's some level of sense to it, but R.I.P. He did a good job. I mean,
did he die in real life?
Yeah, he committed suicide.
Oh, you're right. Okay, sorry, you can cut that out.
Yeah,
I just forgot.
yeah, it's all right. But yeah, like he in this like the trap for this was pretty shitty. Like that would suck to be glued to a seat and have to rip yourself off. Maybe that's why they casted like we need a screamer. And
yeah, he's actually really good at that. I mean, if you need a guy, it's like perfect because like who else could do that? Fucking the guy from Linkin Park, I bet. That was probably the first name that popped into their mind.
They're like, don't worry, you're not a racist. We'll make sure that's people know. But
yep, that's true. I will say that trap was weird and like fine, but I just at this point I'm only really concerned about. I don't even remember the traps that don't have to do with the main story. You know.
Yeah, and also like I love Chester, but it's a very weak trap. Like it's in someone's garage. It's just a car that's jacked up and on a timer to smash his girlfriend's head. Like it's not that intricate. And these are supposed to be like mechanical engineers that are
Hoffman is just like shitty is basically what we're learning in this movie again. His traps just they don't have the unique, like I also the relevance, I would say, to like that each
they are
each
random.
victim would have. I felt like, I mean, like sure the skinning himself, but it still just feels like, I don't know, they're not as clever, right? Jigsaw and Amanda's traps I felt like were way more clever.
But we do know that Hoffman has the engineering skills. Like he did the guillotine. He did all the shit in Saw 6. So it's like you're just going to glue someone to the car.
Yeah, right. I don't know. He's running late. He's got that other big fucking trap that he's setting up for Jigsaw's final task or whatever this is. It's just, I could give a fuck about Hoffman at this point. So let's talk about the guy who's like the main character this episode, because it basically is an episode of
Well, wait,
Saw.
hold on. We got one more.
There's another trap?
There's one more, and it's the worst trap. It's that lawnmower trap where it's just the husband and the wife they wake up literally hanging by a bar with just lawnmowers turned upside down. And the wife bitch slaps the husband and he falls to his death. And that's the game.
Huh. I don't even remember that one. I'm going to have to
It's terrible. It's like, this isn't even a trap. You're just playing on the monkey bars.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That literally is like not ringing any bells. I don't think I've ever seen that at all. I must have. I can't. I'm gonna have to look that up after this. I'm shocked that I don't even remember that.
I think it's no more than 15 seconds in the entire movie. It's like
That's
a flashback during the scene where they're doing like the group therapy. Also, terrible group therapy scene. We love group therapy scenes. Yeah. This is maybe the one bad one.
The one best part about it is, of course, Dr. Gordon being there and being like the creepy fucking like guy with the limp in the back. I'm like, oh shit. I remember being so pumped because I don't think they revealed him in the trailers. Maybe I could be wrong, but I was like super pumped to see him again in the movie. Like even just for that scene or at the beginning when it shows him like cauterizing his wound, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, finally, where the fuck has this guy been? I've been waiting since the first one to see what happened to him, you know? He's really just a total mystery for the rest of them.
He's got a bad leg. It takes a while for him to get anywhere.
I mean, I guess so, but I thought he was great in that scene. That's the one good part about it. But like, yeah, all these idiots. And then the main guy, I think, Sean Patrick Flannery plays him. And I just think this guy takes the cake for dumbest motherfucker alive. Definitely dumbest motherfucker in a Saw movie, I would say. Anywhere. No one comes close. No one. Not even the chick who puts her fucking hands in the razor box. That was dumb, but she was also on like who knows what other poisons, right? Like that's all making her fucking dizzy and out of it. This guy was sober or drinking, sure, but like he had a long fucking time to sober up and decide to still do this.
And also seems pretty unfazed by anything throughout the whole movie, considering he's a fraud. He hasn't gone through any of this. Like, I will give some credit. I thought that idea of having someone who lied about being a Jigsaw victim just to make money, I thought that was really interesting, really smart. I really liked that idea. The execution on it, though, not so good.
Like, it's, I guess, an interesting idea, but I just feel like, I just am like, wow, you have to be the dumbest motherfucker to write a book, go on TV, be a big public persona about being a victim of a serial killer who fucking loves to punish people that lie and do bad shit and just fucking go, hey, this will be great. I'll just make some money off of it. And it's not like he's ever going to capture me and put me in a real Jigsaw trap. Like, I would have chosen the easiest trap to get out of, like Amanda's, where I'm digging someone out of someone else's stomach. He chooses hooks in his fucking pecs, and it's like, you know, he must have known that. Like, I feel like maybe he was just secretly training for this day because he knew it was going to come. Because you'd have to. That's my only issue. Is like, who would be that stupid? Do you really? I mean, I guess there are people, but you got to be really dumb to pretend to be a victim of a murderer and then be like, oh shit, he might kill me? Really? Wow.
Yeah, I liked the idea because I was like, oh, this is better than just the slew of flashbacks we've been getting for the previous 3 movies. But I did write in my notes, I'm like, I like the idea of a fake Saw survivor, but it also seems like the obvious way to get picked up by Saw.
Yeah. Like, is this guy just secretly like asking for it? Like he wants this? Like I don't know. I mean, who knows? But I also will say this guy has the like worst clearance rate of anyone who goes through these traps and is trying to save people. He doesn't save one fucking person.
Yeah.
Nobody lives. Everybody dies. And it's like even the fucking shitty ass insurance guy saved like 5 people or whatever, 4 people, 5
Yeah.
maybe. Like I just I don't get it. Like, how does this guy? I'm like, it's just he doesn't get punished enough for me as this movie. I feel he's just a total idiot asshole. He deserves to die at the beginning of the new Saw and just be ripped to shreds. That's what I think. I hate this guy.
Yeah, he sucks in a lot of ways. One thing that also really
Every
sucked.
way.
One thing that also really sucked, because it really bothered me, is there was so many scenes in the movie that changed like the coloring, like within the same scene. Like there were scenes that had like the original like kind of tint of Saw green, and
Mhm.
then like in the same scene it would switch to Twilight blue, and then in the same scene it would switch to like a natural neutral kind of coloring. I'm like, what are we doing? We're not indicating anything. Like the
I bet
old
that's
movies,
the 3D.
the old movie, it's like, oh, we're indicating this is in the past with the green tint. This
Yeah.
is just like we're indicating different angles at the same moment. I'm like, this is exhausting.
Yeah. There's a lot of new shit going down and a lot of flashbacks and a lot of things that like it's just hard to keep track of at this point because you have so many timelines. I don't even know who's doing like isn't there a time loop episode of or movie of Saw like probably at this point? Jigsaw looks like he's going back in time in this movie because it does have my favorite all-time shot of Jigsaw with the backwards cap on to make him look younger. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
That was a real high point for the franchise because he seems like the kind of fucker that would wear a backwards baseball cap.
Yeah, he does.
It's like Steve Buscemi, like
Hello, youths.
hello, fellow kids. Like that's
All
what
right.
it feels like.
Let's get to this asshole's traps that he has to go through. First off, it starts with the suspended cage. This movie would have been great if he didn't realize it and just fell to his death and then it was over. Would have been awesome.
Hilarious.
But the silent circle, that one's pretty hardcore. Like he has to pull the fish hook up. That
one
shit
gets me.
That shit is rough.
That was my runner up for the worst death in the movie, like the worst trap death, I just feel like
the worst death.
No, I said second worst. It's my runner up.
Oh, okay.
There's one that I think is worse, but I do think that like it's the idea of like didn't even say it's like 3 hooks or some shit like they're all pointing out. I don't know. Maybe it's just one, but either way it looked like it had like 3 prongs on it. So like the fact that he's like pulling it out is fucked. And then I enjoyed that like he's like shut the fuck up, bitch. Just shut the fuck up. It's like I get it, but it's also like, maybe I just let her die like that because it's going to get her anyways. And because like, he's just not going to do it. It's too hard. This is what, like, I'd have to weigh my odds and go, what are the odds of me pulling this out of her throat without her screaming? Probably 0%, right?
Yeah.
Like you just go, you know what? Why don't you just sit there and die? And I won't hurt you more.
It's going to be a lot better if you just accept it. Because pulling that out your throat,
it's through the stomach too. It's all the way in there. And I'm like, okay, that is pretty fucked. And like, sure, I guess like they kind of confirmed that these people all knew about it, right? They all knew about his lie. Like everyone except for the wife, which is fucked, but everybody was in on it. So it makes sense, I guess. But it's also just the hook. It's like there's no way out that works in that one. You couldn't do it. I don't think that feels like an unwinnable trap.
Yeah, you're gonna die from internal bleeding at the least. Like, and he's just like shoving it, like he's playing tug of war with her throat. Ugh,
it gets me in the same way that like in The Ring when she pulls that really long string and she's like coughing and she's like keeps pulling it, and I'm like,
yeah,
like that gets me so bad. This one is just like that. I cannot. That's the worst.
With a hook at the end.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's 10 times worse. There's no soft end to that thing.
So then the next death is the fandom website I'm on calls it the impalement wheel, and I'm calling it the shouldn't skip leg day trap, because it's the one where he has to hold the weight up, and then the wheel spins, and then the woman gets her brain like skewered.
Oh, what? Okay, you're right. Yeah. That
He
one.
holds the weight up, and it like pierces his side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you shouldn't skip leg day.
Is that legs that he's using in that scene? I thought it was.
Yeah, it's like that machine where you put the thing on your shoulders and then you push it up with
Mm.
your calves and whatever. And he just can't hold it because he skipped leg day because he's a fraud. So
Yeah. I mean, this guy, he does okay at these traps. I mean, nobody lives, so there's that. But this one feels like one that, like, fuck you. You really should have been able to do this. Like, whatever pain you're experiencing, just fucking shut up. Like,
lock the knees, man. Have you ever been a best man in a wedding? Like,
yeah,
come on.
what are you doing, man? That was fucked. Jesus. Yeah, I feel like all of the people who are in the traps are basically screwed no matter what in this movie. Like, they're all just like, yeah, this is not going to work out for me.
Like,
but they don't
most of the
realize that.
movies.
Like most of the movies, but I will say, like, everybody else at least makes a pretty good effort and at least saves one other person. Even Jeff, that he accidentally kills him later, but he saves one fucking guy. Just saying, that's better than nobody. This guy, nobody. And also, this one is like so much better than the last one. He had a real chance to fucking do this and he pussied out, really.
Yeah. Like, it kind of reminded me of Saw 6, the first trap with the lung capacity test. And it's like, yeah, I mean, but with being stabbed in the side, so I guess there's some caveats. Another thing I put in my notes was it was really funny. I don't know at what point it happened. I feel like it was in between these traps at some point. But the cop from Final Destination, he sees footage of the fraud being picked up by Hoffman, like in the pig suit and everything. Zero reaction. Like, he sees the footage, he's just like, yeah, could be fake.
Show me something else. This guy just doesn't seem like he's up to the task, obviously. I mean, he does make better decisions. He's the only fucking person that ever tells anyone where he's going. He doesn't make it out alive still, so I guess it doesn't matter. But not even just calling for backup. At least he did that. But like, fucking bring the backup. Like, wait for the backup to get there, and then you go. Why the fuck did these people start going and investigating places alone? Anyways,
you've been shouting this for 3 movies. Like,
I
wait
will not
for backup.
I will not stop. This guy at least told people where he was fucking going. I will give him that. And Hoffman took out that whole fucking thing of cops like it was just so easy. Like, I was just like, this is ridiculous.
You've been shouting this since Saw 2 when Donnie Wahlberg went rogue.
I have. Yes. Every time. The detectives have been doing it the whole fucking time. Like, I get it with the Carrie chick because she got attacked at her house. That's different. She didn't go out looking for him. She wasn't like, I'll go alone with Jigsaw and I'll drive him to the place and then he'll let me go. It's like, fucking, of course not. He's a murderer, you idiots. It's like they still want to believe that he's a good guy or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's really going to help me out here. No, it never works out. Don't go alone. And at least just bring like 5 dudes to walk in front of you. So they get shot by whatever trap is inevitably there, you know?
Yeah.
Bodyguards.
But I will say the death for, I called it the face trident, when it goes into her eyes and stuff. It was nice and slow. That was a pretty good death.
That was fun in the 3D. I remember that because like you can kind of see it now even when you rewatch it, but back in the theater in the 3D, that was pretty fucking great. Because I was like, ooh, it feels like it's coming into my face. And that was like pretty gnarly shit.
So then the next trap was the guy who was blindfolded and also has the noose on him.
Yep, perfect. That's like the best case scenario that you want to be in. Great. So I don't even have a fucking chance. This trap is not about me, even though it's my life on the line. That's what I don't like. This guy has no options of even trying to live unless this fucker doesn't throw him the goddamn key and drop it. Like, of course he can't fucking catch.
I hated this trap so much because I'm like, you get all the way. First off, you tell the person, use your feet, feel where the boards are. Okay. Like, you tell them, calm down. I know this is fucked.
I would never calm
Use
down
your-
if I'm that guy.
Okay, don't calm down. Use your feet. There's just planks. There's only wrong answers.
Yeah.
Like there's one right answer and you can feel it. Everything else is wrong. Okay. But then
Yeah.
he gets all the way to the end and then he throws the key. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's no other option, but I feel like
This guy could have tried to swing across the room or just said, you know what, buddy? I'm sorry, it's not going to work out. Or, because it's like, I mean, basically he's going to have to jump, but I bet you he could fucking grab onto his chain. He might hang him for a second, but he could probably unlock it if he had jumped over, grabbed his chain, unlocked him, and probably would have been okay.
yeah, and then jump back. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I was just like,
I mean, he's
when
like
he threw
Tarzan,
the
basically.
key, I'm like, this isn't gonna work out well.
Yeah.
Like,
This is
why
a good
would
trap for Tarzan. He would be able to pass him the fucking keys with his feet and flying all over the place.
Or you tell him the logical thing, and this is not a hindsight thing. This is just every guy knows this. You say, hey, grab the bottom of your shirt and pull it out a little bit to create a bowl. I'm going to throw the key. It's going to hit you in the chest, and then your shirt's going to catch it.
Yeah, he needs to lob the key too. I feel like he tried, but it kind of came with a lot. Like it bounced quick. Like there was no grabbing it. And I was just like, I feel like this could have gone better. Like you could have tried a little harder. And this guy, again, just is like, this is why you're shit. Because this one and the other one that we were just talking about feel like traps that should have been easier. That's really what it is that it should have been a lot fucking easier for you to save them. And you fucked that up pretty bad. This is why he sucks. He's the dumbest motherfucker alive.
And he gets even dumber in the next trap.
I don't even remember it.
I mean, before we get to that, I do have a note here that just has smiley face emojis laughing, and it just says when the SWAT guy hears Bobby screams. So like they break into to where it's at. And the SWAT guys, we got a live one. And it's like, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
We hear Bobby screaming.
No fucking shit.
So yeah, the next trap was when Bobby had to pull his teeth, the wisdom teeth thing.
That was actually pretty good, I thought.
I hated it. He did a
good job, I meant.
Well, he did a good job, but here's the problem. Like, there was no character, any sort of development to like make that scene tense at all. He's a fraud. So it's like he should be real tentative about just pulling his teeth out. But he goes about this like he has been through a saw trap before. He's just like, oh, cool, pliers, boom.
Yeah.
Face against the wall.
He probably did have to do like the wounds, like the chains or the hooks through his pecs, but it's like that's probably it, right? He just put those in and probably left them there for a minute and then took them out, or 90 seconds or whatever.
Someone probably did it to him.
Well, of course, but that's what I'm saying is again, like that's the thing.
To yourself.
That's harder, and I do feel like he just gets there really quick because he hasn't been able to take much pain or really risk his own life this whole entire time. But when it comes down,
killing everyone.
That's what I'm saying. He's just letting them die, or like he should have let them die a little bit more painlessly. There we go. I'm like, with less pain than putting them through that shit and then them dying still. Like either way, what he should have done was just told the friend that was hanging, hey, just jump off the edge and kill yourself. It's gonna be so much faster, so much easier. You won't have all this psychological torment. I'm not gonna save you, okay?
There's a mattress on the floor. It's gonna catch you. It's gonna be real good. So just jump full faith. You're
just
good.
You're totally fine. You're totally fine. Just walk out straight ahead. Nothing. You might not feel anything, but it's there. It's just lower. Just jump.
It's like, I know I've been lying to thousands or maybe millions of people. I would never lie to you. Like there's a mattress. It's a Tempur-Pedic. It's really comfortable. You should just get on there.
I do feel like you're right that this guy just feels like he's like, I'm like a Saw champion, even though he's never done this before. So like maybe he was like secretly waiting for this because he's always wanted to do this. I don't fucking know. But like he was able to pull out his own teeth, and I don't think I could do it. I really don't. I don't think I could do it. He even manhandles it at one point and just fucking yanks. And those back teeth, they're fucking in there, man. I couldn't do that. I would go, sorry, honey, I'm a fraud and I'm going to die a fraud.
It's weird that they went this route with this character because the Saw franchise does not have a problem with bringing former victims back. Like it would have made a lot more sense for this character to be someone who actually had been through the stuff before.
If only Adam hadn't died, or like Dr.
Right?
Gordon was like not necessarily on Jigsaw, or like, you know, not missing for 7 movies. They could have done something like that with his character for a long time, where it was like he got brought back and now he's got to do it again. I mean, I loved it in Saw 2 because I mean, I
Mm.
also the twist works out really well, I think, because you don't realize that Amanda's in on it until the end.
Yeah.
But like that's cool either way you play it, that she's
Yeah.
secretly in on it, or that maybe she, like the idea of her going through that a second time and being like, fuck, I failed again. Now this,
Yeah.
like, that's a cool take. And I loved that. And it would be cool to do it for real. So
Yeah.
the fact that this guy's a fake and then he still just like is an Olympian with like taking some of this pain and shit. I mean, not when it comes to other people, but for him and his wife, he actually tries. And I do feel like it just seems like he should have been more of a pussy. I mean, he still
Yeah.
lets everyone die, but he makes a pretty good effort, at least, I guess. I mean, he's still just an asshole is the thing, but
Yeah. Well, and then we get the brazen bull with the wife, which
oh, that's the worst death for me. That's the worst one of all time.
You're right. That's I mean, we have his history to back us up on that. Like that's what I think it was like the Greeks or someone barbaric back then. Like, yeah, you just cook people alive.
Yeah, that's
That'd be
fucked, dude.
terrible.
That's literally the worst. And also, I think it comes back to kind of like what we talked about with 6, which was like not as extensive and not as horrible, but still fucked up. The janitor guy who just was a smoker and that was it. Like that felt extreme. I feel like that could be a lot of people that you do that to. You know, this feels like this wife doesn't even have a sin against her and she died 10 times worse. And like,
Yeah.
I just wish that this had happened to the main guy. Like, I would have hated it in 6 if the insurance guy's sister, the like at the end, had gotten the acid instead of him.
Mhm.
It just feels totally wrong. And I mean, I know Hoffman sucks and he's not Jigsaw, and that's maybe the point, but like this just feels like a total shit ending to like this half-ass story that could have been more interesting and better.
Yeah. Well,
You
and then
know?
we also get the most obvious thing ever where the guy has to recreate his fake saw trap. He has to pierce his pecs and do all
And
this
he
stuff.
could have hung on there, man. He had those fucking power cords in his hand when his chains, he could have just held on.
Yeah, well, see, that's how you know he never went through it, because the pecs didn't hold up.
They
He
didn't.
skipped leg day and chest day. So like,
You're
come
right.
on, dude. If you're
Another
gonna fake it,
reason. Yeah, another reason he's the dumbest motherfucker alive. At least if you're gonna pretend to be in a saw trap, fucking practice some shit, you know? Get really good at like, you know, pain, dealing with pain. Make it so that you really love pain. That would be great. I would love to see someone who was like, oh fuck yeah, Jigsaw, do it to me again. Like someone who really wanted to be put in traps. It'd be kind of fun. I bet you there's people like that.
dude, if they got one of the Hellraiser victims in a saw
Mhm.
trap, they
Yeah.
would, no problem.
Nice
They'd fly
crossover
through
though.
it.
I'd love to see the crossover where like Jigsaw is either like, I need to go with the Cenobites because I think he kind of belongs. You know, it's like he just feels like a human version. So let's get a crossover. Someone call me. I'll write the script.
There you go. So yeah, that's the worst death, and then
The twist ending.
well, yeah, then a bunch of the SWAT team get hit with a cyanide box and a sentry gun, which I thought was really funny, that there's just this giant machine gun that popped up and just blasted people. I was like, okay, yeah,
I don't
hide that, heavy machine gun. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Jill
yeah,
gets
then
killed with the bear trap. Finally, we get to see the
we
reverse.
finally see the bear trap, which
Did
meant
we
nothing,
need to see that?
meant
Yeah.
nothing to me.
That wasn't like, oh my God, Indiana Jones grabbing his hat when the door's about to close again. Like maybe that's what they were going for, but like
what
that's
a
not
great parallel.
I'm saying that, like, I feel like
reverse bear trap.
But it's like that would be like that's what they were trying to evoke, that kind of like nostalgia of being like, oh shit, because it's so later. It's like the later ones, and the fact that every time Indiana Jones does that, we all love it because we're like, oh, he's the same guy, He's so
This is what
fucking
the
dropping that
franchise needed, was to actually see the reverse bear trap in
That's
action.
right. At the end of the last movie, I know it was half-assed, but like that feels accurate with these movies. And then the fact that they're like, hey, guess what? We're gonna do another twist ending, with the same fucking trap. And guess what? Jill's gonna die. And as if I wasn't cheering about that. I was like, finally, is this a dream? I fucking hope not. This bitch
Right.
has been around for too long.
And she's
I
just
don't
gonna
care.
look like the monster from Stranger Things. That's how
was
we're
fun.
ending this saga.
I will say that they at least got me back here when we get the twist, which was that Dr. Gordon was the apprentice all along, probably the best apprentice and the number one. I know you probably are not enjoying it from the look on your face. It sounds like this wasn't one of your favorite twists, but I would say after rating 6 and 5, a 1 Saw out of 5, I put this at a 3 out of 5 because I was like, finally, a twist that I actually care about. That feels like an actual twist.
Was it a twist? I feel
For
like
me,
it
it
was
was.
pretty obvious.
I didn't see it coming when I first saw it. I didn't know. I was like, I mean, it just felt like I was like, I didn't know what was going on at this point. There's too much. I didn't have room to think about that.
All right, so here's my thoughts. Okay, I liked seeing Dr. Gordon back. I like him. He's a good character. I mainly hated how he was in 2 scenes of the entire movie.
They could have had him be more.
Like as soon as I saw him, he looked sinister in the group therapy scene. I'm like, oh, he looks like more than a victim.
But he also kind of looked like just like a hardened asshole who was like, fuck everything and the world. This is like, you guys are stupid for thinking this is fun. But it's also, you're probably
like
picking
Jigsaw.
up more. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. More of like the, oh yeah, you're totally, because he knows that guy's a liar, obviously. But
so
ugh.
it was, I mean, and at this point in the Saw franchise, storytelling is very, the bar is very low. But like, to bring him back, I was like, man, I would have liked to have seen him in just that scene and then in the reveal. Like, I would have liked to, I don't know, not even like him be involved in the traps, but just like
A little bit more
dialogue, because he's a great actor. Like,
yeah.
And like the flashbacks of him getting involved, like those were really good. I'm like, I really, really would have liked a little bit more buildup of like him talking about his journey, obviously not becoming an apprentice, but like his recovery and like the things he went through. Just because I love him as an actor, I would have liked to see more of him
I thought
rather
he
than
was a
just
great
pop up and
character.
hit someone with a cane. Like,
I do love because that was just a crazy reveal when they pull off the mask. And then apparently I read this in the trivia that the 2 other people that are with him, I don't think they take off their masks, but
no,
those are the 2 guys from the opening trap. And I just thought, is that supposed to be like, oh, the A-team coming back together? Like
really?
the dudes with the girlfriend. Yeah, those are the people who are in the costumes. And I just was like,
Oh my God.
that seems like a weird posse for him, for Dr. Gordon. I feel like this doesn't feel like the kind of group he'd run around with.
Wow, they converted quick. All right.
I mean, I'm like, okay, but then I'm like, cool. Maybe a cult of Jigsaw. That could be interesting, right?
Yeah.
You could
Scream
cult
did it.
shit. Exactly. Kind of. They almost did it.
Yeah,
Scream
that's
6.
true. Yeah,
I
that's true.
thought that that's where it was going. It was different, but it was still a lot more killers than we've normally had. So, but I will say this one, I just appreciated that it was an actual character from the original saga that was like an actual twist ending for me. That was like the closest I've felt since probably 4.
Yeah.
And maybe even 3, because I don't even really care about 4.
And I think it's the last time we've seen an original person since 4.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Jigsaw is the only one in 4 and beyond.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I've lost track. But I like seeing somebody back. I really wish Adam never died. Like seeing his corpse at the end sucks. But I wish Adam, the character, could have been around longer. They just had him killed off by Amanda or whatever later on, or by Hoffman. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But either way, it's like he could have been an interesting person to come back. I'm pretty sure Amanda went back and killed him.
Oh,
and that was one of the things. I think it's at the twist of 3. They're all running together for me at this point, though.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember he was still chained up, and then they found his body, and then they replaced him with Donnie.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I forgot to give my rating for the traps, but I'm going 4 out of 5 puke emojis because I think that there's some pretty gruesome things in this movie.
Wow, 4 out of 5. I felt like this was one of the weakest.
No, I feel like the last 5 and 6, I gave like 3s out of 5s. I felt they were pretty tame. This one I
So this-
felt was a lot better because of like the hooks. I thought there was just some more gruesome deaths in this one. The
okay.
cooking alive is pretty fucking gnarly. That takes it. That's worse than anything I've seen for a while. So since probably the scalping and also like you mentioned, the slow thing through the eyes and the mouth, that got me because I don't like how slow it is. Fast, that thing would
Yeah.
not bother me if it was fast, but the slowness really bothers me. Like the scalping. Just
all right.
get it over with.
It's your list. You can do what you want.
What are you gonna rate it for traps?
I don't know.
2?
I mean,
1? Pervert.
the
I
first
watched
trap. The
fucking
first
Human
trap is
Centipede.
really fun.
It is fun. The hooks is gross.
But really like the brazen bowl is the worst.
It's so gross though, and it goes on for too long, and I feel bad because it's somebody that's innocent. So that really just bums me out.
Yeah, like I feel like the traps in this were better than Saw 5. I would say
And
maybe on par or
I
a
think
little
better than 6.
I don't know. I feel like it might be a little bit worse than 6.
I don't care.
For me personally. 5 is still the low point. I feel like 6 and 7. I feel like 6 and 7 from an enjoyment standpoint are about par. 7 might be a little bit better.
I think 7's better just because of Dr. Gordon. I love that. And I think
The
this
two
is like
scenes of him.
This just finally felt a little bit more like a Saw movie, even though there's a lot of stuff in it that feels like it's not really a Saw movie. It doesn't make sense. There's a lot of other things that it just really felt like Saw to me. And I mean, I'm just I love nostalgia. I'll say that, not the bear trap, but seeing Dr. Gordon, that gave me the Indiana Jones feeling a little bit, but it's like, oh, but now he's the villain kind of.
I can't believe this, but I'm actually wondering, was Tobin Bell in this movie?
Yeah.
Barely. I just pulled up the spreadsheet. He's in it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's barely in this one.
Lowest screen time.
Until
even
Spiral.
lower than the original.
Yeah. I mean, technically he's on screen a lot in the original.
This is the
he's just not doing
it. That's true.
He probably actually has the most.
This is the only Saw movie that I'm like, wait, is Tobin Bell in this? Like all the other ones, he's for sure in it.
Yeah, it's just that, with all these when they start getting to flashbacks, you're like, okay, he's barely in this anymore. Why am I watching this? He was the selling point, and killing him off was the worst thing you could do. I mean, it was smart to try and end it, but it's crazy to me that the newest one, it took the 10th fucking movie in the franchise to go, maybe we should bring back Jigsaw, and Amanda, the two people that people fucking loved, and you gave them one movie, maybe 2 movies, and then that's it. And then they were dead. And then they've been in flashbacks, and I can't keep track of the timeline. So let's just go back, And I'm glad that they're finally doing that. I wonder if they're going to keep up with Dr. Gordon coming in. Because, I'd be curious, can we get some of the stuff we wanted for this movie in Saw 10 or beyond if they keep going?
Yeah.
They should.
I hope they bring back Dr. Gordon. I feel like I would love to see that actor in a full-blown villain mode. I'd love it.
Me too. He'd be perfect. And then I'll give the twist 3 out of 5 Saws just because I'm feeling generous, baby. I had 1 Saw for the previous 2 movies. Bringing Dr. Gordon back, easy. Just bait for me. I love it. I'm all about it.
Oh, that is very generous, but it's your list. I'll let you do it, but
I'll be mean for the next one when we talk about Jigsaw.
Well, Jigsaw and Spiral. I don't even know if those have twists. I mean,
do actually like Spiral more.
I kind of remember them, but
Spiral's better, I think, by a long shot. But Jigsaw just is. Anyways, we'll talk about it next time.
We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, we did it. We got through the original timeline.
Yeah, the only timeline.
Till the next one.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We out here.